Welcome to your weekly energy download. I'm here to help you understand the collective energy that's moving through all of us right now. Think of it like emotional weather that we can all feel. When we name it and understand it, we can work with it instead of against it. We're going to look at what energy we just moved through, what's showing up now as our invitation to grow, and how you can use this information to navigate your week with more flow and less resistance. Let's dive in.
It's time for this week's transit report. Energy and things and such. Okay, so I want you to go ahead and grab your chart. You can scan the QR code. When you pull the QR code or go to the link that I dropped in the chat, you'll be brought to a screen that looks like this. So you're going to put your name and your information, and then you're going to put the location of where you are as well as the date and time so that you can get your transit overlay, this beautiful looking chart right here. Anything that is blue is infinitely you. And these are things that your soul chose as gifts, as strengths in this lifetime to help you fulfill your purpose. Anything in this pinkish purplish colors is going to be something that is activated by the planetary transits, the planets moving around, shifting and shaking up there, activating different things in our chart, giving us temporary access to different channels, different energies, and different lessons is what we'll call them. So last week we had 4 in our sun and we had 49 in our earth. If you missed that, we obviously have the recording that you can go and check out from last week. Gate 4 was really about mental solutions. This was the energy of trying to make sense of things, looking for answers, and sometimes overthinking our way into clarity. At its shadow, it had us grasping for certainty where none existed. At its gift, it reminded us that the true solutions come from patience and alignment, not rushing. 49, which was in our earths, this was all about principles and revolution. This was the energy of what needs to change. It deeply tied this energy 49 is deeply tied to values, fairness, and integrity. On the shadow side, it had us judging others harshly or threatening to cut things off when we didn't feel safe. In the gift, it asked us to lead change with compassion and principles that include others. So, the final reflection question that I'm going to leave you with from this energy here is going to be, where am I being invited to move from judgment into principled, compassionate change? Good stuff. Now, the energy that we are in right now, like I said, 29 in our sun. This is the gate of commitment. It's very much yes energy. I did take a class on, well, several classes on the gates and the gifts and things that they do. But the specific class looked at the gates of the sacral, because this sacral energy center that is highlighted here on the screen, this sacral is responsible for our life force energy. It also is associated with our sexual organs. So we looked at the different gates and how they may affect romantic partnerships. Like the 34, I remember that one well because that is the gate that is kind of known as being like too busy to have relations and things. And so it may forget to initiate things. I remember that I was like, "Oh, that's what's happening." So in that same way, this 29 is, it was said, is the gate of yes energy. It gets very excited about things. So this 29 is all of that. And specifically for the purposes of this transit report, this is the energy of devotion. Gate 29 invites us to fully commit to what feels aligned and not just to say yes out of pressure. It's about the courage to go all in on the right things while also learning the sacred power of a no, right? Sacral energy, that sacral yes, no. We are uh energetic beings. We know what yeses and nos feel like in our body, and that no, our body doesn't come up with no and then an explanation for the no. Our body's like no, just no. So where this may show up in your life, saying yes to opportunities or relationships without checking in with your body first, feeling the pressure to follow through on things you already know aren't aligned. And on the higher side, this is the energy that helps us stick with something long enough to see real results. Like I said, that gate of commitment. And we even talked about in the Say It Anyway masterclass on Friday how that third fear was commitment to the vision. So this gate actually helps with that. So I think it's perfectly aligned and divine that you guys were all in that masterclass and then you're here now and we're talking about this energy of the 29. In the shadow of this 29 energy, it might look like overcommitment. It might look like burnout, saying yes to what isn't truly aligned. In the gift, it's devotion, resilience, the ability to experience transformation by saying yes to the right path. So, some reflection questions that I really want to leave you with this energy. Where have I been saying yes when I really mean no? What commitments feel truly alive and worth my energy right now? What does your sacral actually have the bandwidth to follow through on? And how does it feel in my body when a yes is really a yes? Should feel juicy. Well, not I'm not gonna shit on what your yes should feel like. My yeses have started to identify themselves as juicy and exciting. And sometimes other people might think they're selfish, but yes, but is the correct, not and. But that's how other people feel about what it is that I want. And I didn't come here in this lifetime to worry about what other people want for me. I came here to experience that for myself. All right, so that's our sun. Big, powerful energy. In our earth, we have gate 30, and this is known as the gate of feelings. It also is known in some circles as the gate of clinging fire. And we see that this is clearly in the solar plexus, the emotional solar plexus. So, this is the energy of passion, desire, and emotional intensity. Gate 30 reminds us that being human means feeling the full spectrum: joy, longing, hope, disappointment. It grounds us in the truth that we can't control outcomes. We can only embrace the ride. Where this might show up in life is wanting something so deeply that it hurts, right? That clinging feeling. Struggling with unmet expectations or what if it doesn't work energy. What also comes with that in this lifetime is learning how to honor passion without clinging too tightly to the results. That detachment is so important. In the shadow, it might look like emotional overwhelm, unmet desire leading to frustration, especially if you're a generator, or despair. In the gift, it has that emotional depth. It has the fuel to ignite meaningful experiences. It has the ability to embrace life's fire with grace. So, the reflection questions that I want you pondering with this energy: what desire feels most alive for me right now? How can I embrace passion without clinging to the outcome? Where have I been resisting the depth of my feelings instead of letting them guide me? What is going to help in this transit are aligned yeses, saying yes to only what feels alive in your body, whatever that yes may feel like for you. Sacred no's to that same effect, creating space by letting go of misaligned commitments. Passion as fuel, letting your desires energize you without needing guarantees, right? Emotional awareness, noticing where feelings point to deeper values, right? Maybe we've compromised on something that we actually really value or desire in our lives, and we need to our emotions are telling us, they're showing us that we need to go deeper there. We need to take a good look there. Maybe do some etymology research on what that value means to us. I had to do that a couple of times. Whatever that looks like for you. What might trip you up this week is people pleasing yeses or are people pleasing yeses. Saying yes to avoid conflict or guilt. Yeah. Alicia's got some work with her clients this week for sure. Over attachment, fixating on how things should turn out. Emotional burnout might trip you up this week, trying to suppress or control the fire instead of riding its wave. And then getting caught in those regret loops is definitely gonna trip you up. Getting stuck in, "I shouldn't have said yes," or "What if I fail?" All of that stuff. It's gonna trip you up this week. This week invites us to remember that both devotion and desire are sacred teachers. Gate 29 reminds us that a true yes can move mountains, but a false yes can drain our spirit. Gate 30 shows us that desire is not something to be feared. It's the spark of life calling us deeper into experience. Your challenge and your gift is to say yes with intention, to let passion move you without chaining yourself to outcomes, to be gracious with yourself if you notice old patterns of overcommitting or clinging. You're human, you're learning, and you're allowed to recalibrate at any time. The real intention for this transit is I put it in affirmation terms. I honor the fire within me by choosing commitments that feel alive and letting my desires inspire me, not control me. Also, on the horizon this week, we have our networking of the Alignment Lounge at 4 p.m. on Thursday. That's open to Spark, Ember, and Awaken members. We have Heart Seat coaching happening on Wednesday at 7 next week. So, that as a reminder, bring all your questions about charts, reparenting work, your clients' charts, marketing research, branding tips, all types of goodies and things like that. We have another deep dive series masterclass coming up in September. So this is a little bit farther out, but I like to keep saying it as a reminder because this is the last center of all of the energy centers that we've done a deep dive on. It is a pressure center and it's a pressure to move. And so many of us have a pressure to move in our businesses that I think it's going to be really imperative that we're there for doing a deep dive into this root center so we can be in alignment with that pressure and not in response to it. And then, as I mentioned, things are still getting together for it, but we have the Wake Up Your Magic retreat coming up. It is my first 1 day in person retreat where I'm inviting you to spend 8 hours with me in Maryland. And we're going to be doing all types of work to wake up that magic inside of you, which means getting through limiting beliefs, which means tapping into why your soul came here, which means, especially towards the end of the day, figuring out how those things can show up in your business and actually magnetize the people who your soul came here to work with. So that is coming up. The retreat investment is 497. I have an early bird cutoff of August 31st to get the tickets for 450. So those are my announcements of what is coming up. If you are ready for your next level of support, I know I talked about different things in the community being spark, ember, awaken. If you want more clarity on what that looks like, on what that means for you specifically, on where you might fit into one of these tiers, then I highly encourage you to book a call with me and step into that next level of support because I would love to support you.
Every Tuesday morning, we gather live in Limitless University for what I call our weekly energy alignment. We start by celebrating wins because your victories matter and deserve to be witnessed. Then we dive into the week's collective energy together, and we close in gratitude, setting the foundation for a week of flow and alignment. The transit report you just heard is one piece of our hour-long gathering. And there's something really special about experiencing this energy work in real time with other humans who get it. You can join us at diamonddripconsulting.com, and you can also find that link in the show notes.